The first Ultraman game out of the small handful that made it onto the Game Boy is a turn-based strategy title that I've had a really difficult time with. It feels a bit like a Fire Emblem title where you first have to place your Ultra Warriors down to defend certain areas. The goal is to find your enemy's base, which is hidden somewhere on your map. There's a fog of war gimmick going on whereby everything is hidden unless there's a character on it. Each base has a guard stationed at it, and you win by reducing these guards' health to 0. You can then take over the base or carry on exploring. You may find things like special weapons or money and shops to spend it in. Let me explain why I struggled with Ultraman Club. It's not with the controls or difficulty. The music is fine, the graphics quite excellent really. No, I struggled because of my own failings. I was defeated by the language barrier. Strategy games, RPGs, that sort of thing are understandably harder than most to get into if you can't read them. I've really stepped up my study of Japanese due to writing this book, but it's still subpar. Ultraman Club, as indicated by the title, is a spin-off series of Ultraman, the anime that we'll see again shortly. In this miniseries included a pretty decent Famicom RPG released barely a month before this came out, but apart from the name and IP, there's really nothing similar between the two to give any clues. What this game does bear similarities to is another Japanese exclusive strategy game that we've recently explored, that being the first SD Gundam game. While this is not as car crashy as that one, it's still pretty awful. The strategy segments are non-existent, serving only as a vessel to get your warriors into combat situations with the enemy. And this is a big problem, because in a strategy game, it's pretty vital that you know which of your characters are attacking which of the enemy. What's the point in building up a unit as your strongest defense if you have no control over whom you target with it? The one-on-one battles are a turn-based affair where you use various moves akin to, dare I say it, a Pokemon game. Look, I'm being super generous there. Ultraman Club has nothing of the depth you'll find in that franchise. In fact, your moves appear to be totally randomized at the start of each fight. Some of them are attacks, some use items and so on, but they change every battle, which is where my language barrier comes in. If the moves were standardized or could be customized somehow, I'd stand a chance of learning this. Instead, I have to translate the moves at the start of each battle, which is more exhausting than educational, or, God forbid, fun. Perhaps I'm giving myself too hard a time with this language thing. Being totally analytical for a second, even if reading wasn't a problem, the design choices don't lend themselves to a game with any kind of nuance or intuition, or even a logical flow. All things you expect from a decent strategy game. The actions are far too randomized, which, while not unfair, is not exactly entertaining. Let's go back to Pokemon for a second. Imagine if you had no control over the members of your party, but they were random monsters from your PC, and when they were flung into battle, they had a bunch of moves that didn't complement each other or the Pokemon's type, or were even useful. Try beating the Dragon Master of the Elite Four with a Bellsprout that only knows Lick for some reason, and you'll see my problem. What's the point of progressing through a game like this, leveling up your squad, learning the strengths and weaknesses, for it all to be bloody randomized anyway?